playing Kahuna the Elder. So, offspring number 3, our youngest, who just turned 18, is just starting to GM, to game master some games. And they've been doing it for a few months. And they came to me with what I think is a very standard question for a game master. And the answer, or the question I should say, is how do I get my players to follow the storyline that I created? And it's a pretty natural thing as a GM to say, you know, I've worked and toiled to create this storyline, and my players are just ignoring it. They're not catching on. They weren't happy with my answer, because my answer was, you don't. Well, what do I mean by that? You don't? You don't make them follow your storyline? No, you don't. You can certainly write situations, encounters, and conditions that guide them in the right direction. But if you do it too much, if you try to shoehorn them into a path, they'll feel it. And they won't feel like their characters have agency. And that's an important part of a role-playing game. You're playing a role. You shouldn't feel like your character is being shoved down a specific path. You should feel like, as a player, that your character can make decisions and it works. So you may have created this great encounter off to the side with signs that point to it. And the larger path goes that way, and there are trails that lead that direction. And they completely ignore it and go past it. How do you force them to go back? You don't. You see, that is where they will lose agency. If they feel like they had to go back there. Now, are there ways to redirect them that don't feel like they're being railroaded? Sure. For example, let's take the example of that path that you really wanted them to go down to because you created the encounter. Well, the way you get them to do that is the same way it happens in most video games. They can't complete the next section or the next thing they come to because they're missing something from that path. And so there can be clues. Let them move on. Let them go on to the next encounter. But at some point, they run into something and go, crap, what are we missing? And hopefully somebody says, you remember that path we passed? I wonder if that's where we get stuff. Or you can say, hey, put an NPC character, a non-player character in there who says, are you guys trying to find this or that? Are you guys trying to do this? Yeah. Oh, you'll never do it without such and such. I heard it's back in the forest. Some story that leads them back on that path. But they have to come across that story. They've got to ask the right questions. You need to put everything in their path for them to find those answers. But they have to find the answers themselves, or it feels railroaded. And that's not what you want for your characters. Make sure when you are building, and we'll talk about this in another video, but the folks at World Anvil will tell you a lot about agile world building. What does that mean? You've created extra character names, not necessarily full characters, but a character name and what kind of being they are, something basic for your players to run into. Multiple places that they could go to, a village, not necessarily encounters, but places that you have reserved, set aside in the background so that you are never at a loss when they do take that side turn or when they don't go the path you wanted to. And then just simply come up with a few other ways. Think ahead. Always assume your players are going to do exactly the opposite of what you're looking for them to do. And then find ways to redirect them back and allow them to find their way back, as opposed to simply making them do that. The answer to the question very simply is, if the question is how do I make them follow my script, you don't. But you can give them ways to find their own way there. If you like these videos, make sure you hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell button on this side. Hit it, and you'll be notified when I put up a new video. Also, feel free either in the comments or anywhere you'll find me online, on Twitter, on Facebook, any of them. I'm Kahuna the Elder at pretty much everywhere, or even at kahunatheelder.com, to let me know what you would like to see in a video. Future videos will cover how to handle tactics with mobs. We'll also talk about world building on World Anvil, how to create maps that help, all kinds of different things. You let me know what you want to hear about, and we'll work on getting you a video that'll help. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.